Well, it's time to get back into the Batman film universe. We did Batman 89 with Jack Jokerface. We did Batman Returns with Danny Flipper Fingerman. Now we're diving into Batman Forever, featuring uncomfortable green spandex man. And nipples. Bat nipples. It's gonna be a fun ride. So let's not waste any more time and get stuck in, because if you had questions like what drama occurred on the production of this movie, who crashed the fucking Batmobile, and nipples, just nipples. Oh, would you look at that, it's number 1. So, Batman Forever is a 1995 superhero film and is the third Batman feature film, unless you count this one. What a cinematic classic. This film is directed by Joel Schumacher and produced by Tim Burton. It is also the first Batman movie since Batman 1989 not to be directed by Burton himself. Despite having an entire new cast, including a new actor for Batman, this film is indeed a sequel to the previous Batman movies. The movie stars Val Kilmer in the role of Bruce Wayne and... shh, don't tell anyone, but he's also Batman. Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, Jim Carrey as a lunatic, the Riddler, Chris O'Donnell as Robin, and Nicole Kidman as Dr. Horny Lady. Batman Forever is notable for having a much different tone and style than the previous gothic look of the last two movies, with this movie featuring larger and brighter sets, more colourful costumes, and an inspiration from the 1960s TV series. The film follows Batman as he continues to be the crime-fighting Bat of Gotham City, when villains Two-Face and later the Riddler show up and Batman is forced to go head-to-head with the two. And that's about it. It's not really a complicated plot. Oh, and I guess also Robin's there as well, doing some badass kung fu laundry. Well, man, he's so rad. It's number 2. In 1992, Batman Returns was released and became a financial success. However, Warner Bros. Felt that the film was too dark and inappropriate for children. Yeah, I've said it before and I'll keep on saying it. There's literally a line from the Penguin about him wanting to finger a woman with his flipper. So, yeah. Maybe keep that one away from the kiddies. McDonald's even pulled their Happy Meal tie-in for the movie. Because of this and the fact that despite being a financial success, the film didn't quite match up to the numbers of the last movie, Warner Bros. Decided to go in another direction for the third installment. They began looking at other directors first, since Burton's style was deemed too dark and just too strange. Burton himself was even considering leaving as he wanted to move on to other projects. The studio started eyeing up directors such as Sam Raimi of the Evil Dead series and John McTiernan of films such as Predator and Die Hard. Eventually, though, the role of director would fall onto Joel Schumacher, who at the time was notable for directing such films as the teenage 80s classic The Lost Boys and the strange supernatural film Flatliners. New scriptwriters were also brought on to help provide a new style to the film. Screenwriter couple Janet and Lee Batchelor were the folks that took on the project. Their first draft of the script featured the Riddler as a type of mad scientist with a pet rat called Rattler. That's not true, that last bit. I just made it up. I don't know what the rat's called. Ooh, it's number 3. The original idea for Batman was to have actor Michael Keaton return to the role. Keaton was initially on board with the idea for the film, which was to adapt the comic book Batman Year One, which tells the story of Batman's first year of being a crime fighter. However, after Warner Bros. Decided they wanted the film to be a sequel rather than a prequel, and the idea and style of the film changed, Keaton had decided that he wanted to move on from the franchise and onto different projects. After having seen his performance in the film Tombstone, director Joel Schumacher decided on casting Val Kilmer in the role of Batman. However, before the casting of Kilmer, other actors were being eyed up for the role, such as Keanu Reeves, Tom Hanks, Kurt Russell, Ralph Fiennes, Daniel Day-Lewis, and Johnny Depp. Dean Cain was also briefly considered for the role, but due to him starring in the show Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, he was dropped as the public already knew him as Superman. So don't get greedy, Cain. You can't have both, mate. Ooh, number 4. In the first Batman film, the character of Harvey Dent was featured and played by Billy D. Williams. Harvey Dent, of course, later becomes the villain known as TwoFace in the comics. Originally, Billy D. Williams took the role of Harvey Dent in the hopes that he would be able to play TwoFace in future sequels. However, after the character was dropped from the sequel, Batman Returns, Williams' chances of reprising that role became slim by the time it came to making Batman Forever. Eventually, the role landed with the grumpiest man in Hollywood, Tommy Lee Jones. Although, based on his performance, I think he thought he was playing the Joker.
Punctual, even for his own funeral. Boys, blast him! For your dying pleasure, we are serving the very same acid that made us the men we are today.
Jones was reluctant to take on the role, but did so due to his son's insistence. This on-screen version of Two-Face, despite the performance, is actually fairly similar to his comic book counterpart. Two-Face in this version has one side of his face horribly burnt and scarred like the comics. His suit he wears also reflects his comic book counterpart, and even his trademark coin, which he decides his actions on, is included in this movie. Even his original origin is included in this movie, although seeing Batman fully dressed in court just makes it fucking hilarious. I got 5 on it. Oh, copyright strike. The Riddler was featured very early on in the making of this movie, appearing in the very first draft of the script. When it came to casting the role, many actors were being considered, including John Malkovich, Brad Dourif, Kelsey Grammer, Matthew Broderick, Steve Martin, Adam Sandler, and Mark Hamill, who was unable to commit to the role as it clashed with his contract that he had playing the Joker in Batman the Animated Series. During this time, actor Jim Carrey was just entering into the height of his fame, having starred in films such as Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber, all of which would be films that would cement his career and what he would be known for worldwide. The buzz surrounding Carrey definitely helped him when it came to landing the role of the Riddler. But what also gave him an extra edge was the fact that director Joel Schumacher had known Jim Carrey all the way back when he started out as a stand-up comedian. And as a bonus fact, it was reported at one time that Michael Jackson wanted the role of the Riddler, and remember, this is 90s Jackson. That would have been a sight to see.
Oh, don't believe it, it's number 6.
During the production of the film, Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones reportedly did not get on at all. The two were constantly at odds with each other, with director Joel Schumacher describing the atmosphere on set as somewhat unbearable. The cause of all of this may have come down to ego on Jones's part, as Joel Schumacher commented on this situation by saying Tommy Lee Jones was annoyed by Jim Carrey's ability to steal the scene from him whenever they were on set together. This feud did not stay on set, however, as Jim Carrey revealed in several interviews and podcasts.
I walked into a restaurant about the night before our big scene in the Riddler's lair, and the maitre d' said, "You're working with Tommy Lee Jones, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." And he said, "He's in the back corner. He's having dinner." I said, "Oh, great. I'll go say hi." And I went up to say hi, and the blood drained from his face in such a way that I realized that I had become the face of his pain, or something. And he got up kind of shaking and hugged me and said, "I hate you. I really don't like you."
Oh my.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, okay, well, what's going on, man? Like that. And he said, "I cannot sanction your buffoonery."
This rivalry became so bad that director Joel Schumacher was reported in saying, "I'm tired of defending overpaid and overprivileged actors. I pray I don't work with them again." Schumacher, however, several years later would go on to work with Jim Carrey again on the film The Number 23. But hold on, because we're not done yet, as there was even more drama as Joel Schumacher reported that Val Kilmer was causing issues on set. Schumacher stated that Kilmer was childish and impossible, and that he was rude to various members of the crew. At one point, after having an argument with Schumacher, Val Kilmer refused to speak to him for several weeks after the director had instructed him to stop being rude to the crew. Whew. Wow. All this drama and ego over this.
Number 7, baby. Number 7.
This film also introduces us to Robin, who had been planned to make his arrival on screen in the previous movie, being played by Marlon Wayans, but eventually that role was cut. Actors up for this version of Robin included Corey Feldman. I wonder if that was before or after he started going insane. Mark Wahlberg and Scott Speedman. Schumacher also hosted casting calls while in London and began considering actors for the role of Robin such as Jude Law, Alan Cumming, Toby Stephens, Ewan McGregor, and fucking Danny Dyer. What the fuck?
Go and grab your balls, Andy. This is where it's all going to start getting a bit serious. What's the question, babe?
I need this version to be reality. Somebody get this man a Robin costume.
Drop it! Drop it! Drop it!
Let's go!
Let's all calm down. Let's all calm down.
Chris O'Donnell, however, was the one to eventually land the part. In many incarnations, the Dick Grayson version of Robin, which this version is based on, has always been portrayed as at least a teenager until his transformation into Nightwing in his adult years. However, it was decided very early on that they would cast an older actor over the age of 18 to play the role, as to avoid the limitations and the limited shooting hours that comes with child labour laws.
You wanna know a secret? It's number 8.
Batman Forever went through many cuts, with the original cut having a length of about 2 hours and 40 minutes. I'll be honest, I don't think I could sit through that much Batman Forever. I'd go as insane as this bloke. After Joel Schumacher's unfortunate death in 2020, news about a Schumacher cut of the film began to circle around the internet. This cut was believed to be much darker and contained less camp than the theatrical cut. This cut also included Bruce facing off against a human-sized bat, possibly in some sort of dream sequence, the footage of which was featured in the film's trailer. It also included a stronger focus on Bruce Wayne's psychological issues, which he shares with Dr. Chase, and less emphasis on the character of Dick Grayson. It was also reported that this cut uses around 50 minutes of additional footage. Later, it was revealed by Warner Brothers that the cut does indeed exist. However, the studio currently has no plans on releasing the cut.
Good heavens, number 9.
Right, let's be having a look at some quick facts. For his role as the Riddler, Jim Carrey had wanted to shave a question mark into his hair. However, Carrey had to abandon the idea as he was due to appear in court to finalise his divorce. The Batmobile was usually driven by stunt drivers, but during the scene in which Dick Grayson takes the Batmobile out for a joyride, actor Chris O'Donnell insisted on driving it himself. This resulted in him actually crashing the bloody car and denting the bumper. See, this is why it's a bad idea to let fully grown men posing as teenagers drive your car. It's just gonna end in disaster. This is actually the first on-screen appearance of Arkham Asylum. Over 100 versions of the Batsuit and Robin costumes were created to allow for a variety of different scenes and stunts, such as underwater scenes or anything involving heat and fire. Speaking of the Batsuit, the costume was reportedly so heavy that Kilmer lost 5 pounds just from using it when filming the opening fight scene. Continuing on with costumes, Jim Carrey had helped design the many costumes that the Riddler wears. This is the first on-screen appearance of TwoFace, but the second on-screen appearance of Harvey Dent.
I say, old chap, it's number 10.
While the marketing for the previous 2 films was strong, the marketing for this movie was fucking mental. We're talking toys, video games, brand tie-ins like exclusive McDonald's merchandise, cups, t-shirts, bags, tons of TV ads, and its own beautiful 90s website. On its release, Batman Forever managed to beat Jurassic Park's record for the highest opening weekend gross of all time. It also was the first film to gross $20 million in one bloody day. The film, however, was not so successful when it came to critics, many of whom described the film as being loud and often boring, though many of them also praised Jim Carrey's over-the-top performance. So what does our boy Roger Ebert have to say about this film? Well, Roger Ebert described the film as, well, bubblegum for the eyes.
Right, Dougal, come on, you can't sit watching television all night. It's a big waste. Chewing gum for the eyes.
No thanks, Ted.
Well, there you go, 10 facts about Batman Forever. Hey, if you enjoyed this, then please do consider giving the video a like, as it really does help me out a lot. And if you want to see more and you don't want to miss out on anything that happens on this channel, then please do consider subscribing and hitting the bell thingy to stay notified. And while you're at it, why not check out our other Film Facts videos? They cover both film and TV. But you know what? Thanks for watching.